Sandra Bernhard is joining us, and thanks for taking the time to talk to us here on WLRN.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Wanted to talk to you because you're coming to Miami to the beautiful Prelude by Barton G at the Arsht Center, and you're doing your singing and comedy, and we wanted to know more about the program that you're going to present.
Well, it's a very rigorous program, and I'm just kidding. When I hear the word program, it kind of tickles me.
This is NPR.
Oh, I'm so glad it's NPR. I love NPR, and I support NPR wherever I go. It's the best thing in the world. So then I will keep it rigorous and to the point. Well, my show is really they're kind of a journey really through like my life and my eyes and places I've been and people I've been involved with and situational and emotional and global, a little tiny bit political, and it's all these little stories and observations kind of woven in and out of different kinds of music, rock and roll and R&B and some songs I've written and some covers, some obscure, some more familiar, and I try to do kind of like just an interesting seamless journey that takes you from point A to point Z and everywhere in between.
And what about your background? I was thinking, what do you ask Sandra Bernhard, like, where did it all start for you?
Well, I knew I wanted to be a performer since I was 5 years old. I mean, I think I just had that imprint, and I had 3 older brothers, and I loved getting attention, and musically and comedically, I was always, had sharpening my little wits, and I was just always on my toes since I was a kid, and so it just kind of evolved naturally by the time I graduated high school and traveled a little bit and then moved to L.A. I started, performing at clubs at night and worked during the day as a manicurist to support myself. And so I had all these funny stories and interesting little, side notes I was always, jotting down about my world and my life. And then it just kept evolving. And of course, writing and acting all kind of, were part of the big pot of soup that I was cooking up. And
you started as doing stand-up?
Yeah, I started doing stand-up with, like little bits of singing thrown in. And then it just kind of evolved from there.
Yeah, you seem to do it all, You can sing, you do comedy, actress, live stage performing. Is there anything that you like more than the other?
Well, I mean, when I'm on stage, all the different elements come together for me, and of course, to me, but one without the other is not as much fun. I mean, I love to sing, but then of course I love to talk, and I love to talk, but I love to sing. So, that's why it's fun to get to put together my own shows, and and then the acting, whether it's television or film, it's a very different experience. It's collaborative, and you're usually just a person for hire. So, it's a different discipline. But of course, it's also wonderful, and I may not feel quite as home in that world as I do in my own, but it's challenging, and it also keeps me on my toes.
I notice you have quite a number of albums that you've recorded over the years.
Yeah. Well, some are studio albums. A lot of them are recorded live from my shows, and so I try to capture each show so that people come to see it and sell it later at different performances. It's nice to go back and actually I draw a lot from different shows and throw in a piece. Because a lot of times I know like I didn't make it down to a certain market to perform that show, and so then I kind of mix it up, and people don't even know whether it's current or old, and I have quite a catalog of material that I like to kind of fold into the contemporary present stuff as well.
Yeah. And where would you think people would recognize you more from? Television or?
Well, it really depends on who the person is. I mean, I think in general, people who, are at home, who are also motivated to go out to see a live show, have seen me on, Roseanne and all the shows since that I've done on TV, and a lot of people know me from King of Comedy and other film work that I've done over the years. And, for people who are just, diehard live performance people, they know me from all the, the years and years and years that I've been performing.
In the New York scene, very prominent in the New York theater world and performing arts.
Exactly. Matter of fact, I've just finished writing a musical with my friend Justin Bond.
Oh, I love him.
Oh, good. I'm glad you know who he is.
Yes.
It's called Arts and Crafts. So in early March, we're doing a backers evening to get producers down and hopefully mount that over the next 6 to 8 months.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's the two of us starring in it with ancillary characters and original songs, and
I'm sold.
I mean, you can't go wrong. It's
Yeah.
a fun story, but it's the two of us, and people love us together, and we've performed in each other's shows quite often. And I said, we really deserve to do something more than this, and so I came up with the idea, and then we sat down all summer and wrote it, and it just really happened effortlessly. So I'm hoping that gets on its feet very soon.
Oh, well, best of luck with that.
Thank you.
You mentioned Roseanne, and I happened the other night to stumble upon an episode. I think Morgan Fairchild was in it.
Yeah, she played my girlfriend on the show.
Yeah, and I kind of forgot about that time.
Right? I know.
And here we are all these years later. What do you think? How far have we come with equality and acceptance, do you think?
Well, I think overall we've done a great job, but I think there's always going to be these kind of reactionary, extremists who are threatened by women's rights, by gay rights, by reproductive rights. I just think that unfortunately those are like some of the touchstones with these people that try to pull society and culture backward, and every time, I mean, it's the same thing with, the Republican, Senate and Congress trying to cut funds to NPR and public stations. I mean, we're the scary people. They make us scary, and it's just so stupid. This is the forum, the public forum where where people come for intelligent conversation. I mean, I don't know.
That's what scares them. It's too intelligent.
Well, it does scare them, but that's unfortunately, as far as we always come, there's always those people that want are regressive, and it does make it a challenge. But I guess that's just part of being an interesting diverse person. You got to stay on your toes and keep evolving.
Wasn't there some controversy when Roseanne, when you were going to kiss or something, that ABC wouldn't air it?
Right as we were supposed to kiss, they cut. They weren't.
Oh, that's
the kiss
right.
wasn't allowed to actually happen. So I guess at least we've come that far. I guess we can kiss now.
I know. When you think about it, it was just short time ago, really, 10 years ago, I guess, or so.
It's true. So that's exciting.
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit more about some of your activism. What are you working on now? Are you involved with an organization right now?
Well, I wouldn't, I kind of, when people come to me, I try to lend my name, and if I can do a benefit or something, I do. There isn't like one particular organization that I've been involved with in, the past couple of years, but, it varies from, reproductive rights to gay rights. It's just kind of across the board. If somebody needs me, I'm there. And I think it's just really important to let people know that I'm one of those people who stands strong on all those fronts, and I always have, and I always will, and I'm available when push comes to shove.
What about that It Gets Better campaign? Did you participate in a video?
I did one of them, although I never saw it, so I don't know if, it seemed like so many people did it that everybody got kind of lost in the shuffle.
It really sort of took on a life of its own.
Yeah, it did. So.
It was very powerful. Dan Savage was in town, and he's going to be back, and what a guy to put that together.
Right, right, totally. So all these things are very good, and I have a lot of admiration for people that, are grassroots and really go out there and do it, over and over again. It's very, it's really important.
So getting back to your Miami show here at the Arsht Center at Prelude by Barton G, what kind of it's a very intimate, small setting. Is it you and a piano, or what's the setup?
Yeah, well, my musical director, she plays keyboards and guitar, so depending on the song, she'll probably go back and forth and, and do both. And
how long a set is it?
About an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to, and people get tired, Their attention span has shrunken a bit, but, if I'm on a roll, I can stand 2 hours, 2 hours and 10 minutes, but I find like an hour and a half, an hour and 40 is a good length for, for an audience to still be engaged.
Yeah. You seem very, we all know you from TV and stuff. You just seem so likable. Do you get that a lot?
Well, I think people are surprised when they interview me. I think there are a lot of people who think I'm going to be like tough or hardcore, and I think that when you walk on stage and you have your persona and you're selling your material and you have that level of energy, I think people mistake that when in a one-on-one setting, and I think people are pleasantly surprised when they get to talk to me in these situations, and that makes me happy. I think that it's good to have both elements to your personality.
I think you were in Miami a couple of years ago. You did a show, I think, on Miami Beach.
Yeah.
It was sort of a bigger show, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I had my whole band with me.
Oh, the band, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll be back to do that again. I think that this was the situation is, I think it's a limited kind of experimental situation. So, this is what they could afford to provide for me, and I'm cool with that.
Yeah, and people are going to have a good time.
Well, that's I would hate to have to say that myself, but I think all my shows are they get better and better as I evolve as a performer, and there's one thing I can guarantee: I'm always on 150% on stage, and it's I never let an audience down.
And do you get a lot of people wanting to meet you after the shows? And
oh, sure, yeah. People stick around. Some people want autographs. Some people just want to say hello, and it's always a nice moment to be able to do that.
That's excellent.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I'm just looking at all the number of films that you did as well. Is there any particular film that you kind of put your name out there in the spotlight where people got to know you?
Well, I think my performance film, Without You I'm Nothing, was very cutting edge, and you see a lot of it in Hedwig and The Angry Inch, the director who I know, said that he drew a lot from that show, and so it was very. I think it was it really set the pace for a different kind of performance film, and so in terms of things that I was directly involved with, I mean, I love that film, and as an actress, I think I don't know, everything I've done has been fun, and I'm ready to do a lot more, and some dramatic roles. I think that I can really get behind that and do some good work, and I'm hoping that happens over the next few years.
Yeah,
as well.
You mentioned perhaps the Justin Bond musical collaboration. Are there any other film projects in the works that you can talk about? Or?
I was supposed to shoot a film in Chicago called The Ted and Ellen Show, which is kind of a send-up of a reality television show, and I play the producer. So we're supposed to be shooting that in April. Some people from, I think they're kind of involved with what's the big acting company there?
The Groundlings?
No. It's oh God, Laurie Metcalf. A lot of people came out of there.
Second City?
No, it's not a comedy. It's an acting company. I'm blanking on it right now.
That's
anyway,
okay.
Some of the people I think are involved with that as well. So it should be it's a good script, and should be a good film. So hopefully we'll shoot that this year, and it'll be out next year.
Excellent. Now, before we go, is there one thing...
Steppenwolf is what I was trying to think of. Sorry.
Is there one thing that you think people have a misconception about you?
Well, I think just that, that I'm always, ferocious, and just sort of the same, point we were just making about doing these interviews, and that, that I'm going to be, unapproachable or, cold or, tough. And, it's, I have my moments, everybody, depending on who comes up to you, of course you have to be on your guard a little bit, but in general, I think I'm a pretty accessible person, and, and certainly very caring about where culture and society and particular America is headed, and hoping and hopeful that people will all find their inner happiness, so they don't need to reach out and try to pull happiness out of other people's lives.
Yeah. It seems like you're very passionate about a lot of things, and perhaps, I don't know, people use words like outspoken or whatever, but I find it refreshing. I like people that say what they mean what they say, and are passionate about things they care about.
Well, I mean, I grew up, I was, in high school in the 70s, and, I had 3 older brothers, and, I was, went through the Vietnam War and, women's movement, and, the civil rights movement. I was a little kid, and I took all that in, and it's just like, I mean, we've come so far, and yet people still have such fear, and I don't understand.
What is
it.
that?
I don't know. I think it's old prejudice. I think it's, it's a shift in the patriarchy. I think a lot of people hold on for dear life, and they're very frightened, and they impose their fear on other people, and I think that's why there's a lot of violence, and there's a lot of hate and insensitivity, and I'm just hoping, like I said, that people will really find their spiritual happiness along the way, because really without it, I don't know where we're headed as a society.
Elton John just made a statement about feeling like, sick of feeling like a second-class citizen. Do you, because I related to him saying that. There's a lot of people that aren't gay-friendly, even today. It seems odd. Do you find?
Well, I mean, for me, it's not just that. I think it goes much deeper. I think that people who are really, standing in the periphery, whether it's a woman who's highly, activated, or somebody gay or somebody of color, I think that, it's coming from a lot of different directions. I mean, the gay thing for me isn't like the primary issue for my life. I find that it's multi-layered, and I like to make it more universal. So I don't feel like, based on that, I've had any sort of difficulties.
And what about civil rights? People used to march in the streets. We don't see much of those kinds of.
Well, I think with the advent of the internet, I think people are interacting in a different kind of way. I think young people don't know about it. They don't understand it. People don't communicate in the same way anymore. So it's easier for people to express themselves through a blog, or on Facebook, or on Twitter,
or signing a petition or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's just shifted,
And what about the old mindset set in Washington? Do they get it? Like when people sign these petitions, MoveOn.org and these other organizations, I mean, people in Washington, these old, bloated white guys that are sort of out of it, do you think they get it?
I mean, they get it as much as they have to get it. I mean, I think they're still there to serve the master. I don't necessarily think they care. They're dealing with their constituents and the big money people and
lobbyists,
and I think that's what their first concern is. Obviously, I mean, a lot of things go on behind closed doors that we don't know about. But I think somebody like the guy who did WikiLeaks. I mean, I know a lot of people are concerned, but I think that was one of the best things that happened.
Absolutely,
the past year.
I agree.
Accountability. I think transparency. I think people should know what's going on. How much needs to be secret, really? And you boil it all down. And for how long?
That young man they've got in prison that helped get the information. He's been in solitary confinement.
Oh, I know.
It's terrible.
I don't know what the status is with him, but it's people, the government, they try to keep a tight rein on us out here. They don't want us to know too much.
You think the president's getting a bad rap? I think he's been doing wonderful.
I love Obama.
Yeah,
I think he's fantastic, and I'm looking forward to his speech tonight.
Oh yes.
And I think that unfortunately, the shooting in Tucson, really was a platform for him to be able to come out and say some really wonderful things. And I don't know. I just feel like he's there. He's more subtle. He's more nuanced than other people have been. But I think he's doing a fabulous job. I just think, unfortunately, Americans need a lot of attention. So he needs to get out more and reassure the people that this is the right thing, and be in their face. I think Americans need you to be in their face.
Yeah. And
I don't think that's such a great thing, but that's what we're used to.
Do you talk a little politics in your show?
A little bit, I try to, I feel like it's overkill, and I think people get tired of it. But I touch on it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to it. Sandra Bernhard coming to Miami, Prelude by Barton G at the Arsht Center, and it's really been an interesting conversation with you.
I'm so glad. I'm glad to hear that, and I'm thrilled that this was NPR, because they didn't tell me it was NPR, and now I feel even better than I did before.
Yeah, we are the NPR affiliate here for South Florida, so
I love it.
Thanks
Wonderful.
again for coming on.
It's my pleasure, and I'll see everybody this Friday and Saturday.